There's a rule at almost every company that nobody writes down, but everyone knows. Keep it professional. Keep it clean. Keep your heart out of it. I knew the rule. I agreed with the rule. And then she walked in on Monday morning, and by Wednesday night, I had broken every single piece of it. My name is Daniel. I'm 29 years old, and up until 8 months ago, I had what I thought was the perfect professional life. No drama, no complications, no mess. I had just landed a position as a junior account manager at a mid-sized marketing firm in the city. It wasn't glamorous, but the pay was good, the office had real windows, and my new boss, a sharp, no-nonsense man named Robert Chen, had a reputation for turning rookies into top performers. I was hungry. I was focused. I had a 5-year plan typed out and saved to my desktop wallpaper. Robert called me into his office on my first morning. The room smelled like strong coffee and printer ink. He didn't offer me a seat right away. He just studied me for a second, the way a coach sizes up a new player before the first practice. "You're smart," he said finally. "Your file says so. Your references say so. But smart doesn't always mean ready." "I'm ready," I told him. He nodded slowly. Then he leaned forward and said it. "One rule, Daniel. Just one. Don't fall in love with anyone on this team. Not a colleague. Not a client. Nobody. The last guy who did that cost me 2 accounts and a 6-month legal headache." He paused. "You understand me?" "Completely," I said. And I meant it. I truly did. Her name was Sophia Reyes. She was the senior creative strategist on our team, 27 years old, and she had been with the company for 3 years. I met her in the Monday morning briefing, the one where Robert introduced me to everyone. She was sitting at the far end of the table, half listening, doodling something in a notebook. When Robert said my name, she looked up, just briefly, and then she went back to her notes. That was it. That was the whole moment. But something about the way she did it, completely unbothered, totally in her own world, stuck with me in a way I didn't expect. Monday wasn't bad. I kept my head down, learned the systems, smiled at the right people. I was professional. I was focused. I was exactly who I had promised Robert I would be. Tuesday was when it started to unravel. Sophia and I were assigned to the same new client project, a beverage startup that needed a full brand campaign in 3 weeks. Robert paired us specifically because, as he put it, Daniel handles the numbers, Sophia handles the vision. We were supposed to meet for 1 hour to align on strategy. We talked for 4. Not because we were distracted, because we were locked in. She had ideas I hadn't heard before, approaches that bent the usual rules in a way that somehow made more sense than the rules themselves. And when I pushed back on one of her concepts, she didn't get defensive. She got sharper. She asked me why I disagreed, actually listened to my answer, then rebuilt her argument from the ground up and came back stronger. I had never met anyone who argued like that. Like it was a sport she loved, not a fight she needed to win. When we finally left the conference room, the office was half empty. I hadn't noticed the time at all. "Good session," she said, pulling on her jacket. "Yeah," I said. "Really good." She gave me one quick look, the corner of her mouth moving just slightly, and then she walked away. I stood in the hallway for a second longer than I should have. That was Tuesday. Wednesday is when I made the mistake. We had a working lunch to review the first draft of the campaign deck. We grabbed sandwiches from the place across the street and ended up eating on a bench outside because the break room was too loud. She was telling me about her first job out of college, some tiny agency that had her doing everything from copywriting to answering phones, and she was laughing about how terrible it was. Not complaining. Laughing. "You loved it," I said. She stopped. "How did you know that?" "Because you're smiling like it was the best time of your life." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Yeah, I kind of did." The afternoon sunlight was hitting the side of her face. A bus rumbled past. Someone nearby was playing music from a phone speaker, something with a slow, easy rhythm. And in that moment, sitting on that bench with a half-eaten sandwich in my hand, I felt it, clean and clear and completely inconvenient. I liked her, not in the way you like a colleague who's easy to work with. In the other way, the way Robert had specifically told me not to. I didn't say anything. I finished my sandwich. We went back inside. For 2 weeks, I kept things professional. The client loved the campaign. Robert was pleased. But I noticed her more every day. Then came the Thursday night when the client pushed back hard on the campaign. We stayed at the office past 9, trying to rebuild everything. The building was quiet. The lights were low and amber. She tapped her pen against the desk. "We can fix this," I said. "I know we can fix it," she said. "That's not what's bothering me." "What's bothering you?" "I hate when something I believed in gets picked apart until it doesn't look like itself anymore." I looked at her. "Then we don't let it." She turned toward me. "What?" "We defend the parts that still matter," I said. "We explain the vision better." She was quiet. Then she said, "Okay, let's do that." We worked until midnight. When we finished, she leaned back in her chair. "Thank you," she said. "It's my job," I said. "No," she replied. "You stayed because you cared about getting it right." At the door, she paused. "Daniel," she said. "Yeah?" "I'm glad you're on the team." And then she was gone. 11 days later, I told her the truth. "I need to be honest," I said. "I think you're remarkable." Not in a way I can keep ignoring. "I know there's a rule." "I know," Robert warned me. "But I'd rather be honest than pretend I don't feel this." She looked at me for a long moment. Then she smiled slightly. "Robert told you the rule?" "First day," I said. "He told me the same thing 3 years ago." She paused. "I've noticed it too." "I'm not saying yes right now. But I think we're both adults who can handle this." "Agreed," I said. 8 months later, she's the first person I want to tell when something good happens. She still leaves coffee on the counter every morning. She still argues like it's a sport she loves. Robert pulled me aside recently. "You broke my rule," he said. "I did," I replied. He paused. "She's the best person on this team. Don't mess it up." "I won't," I said. "Here's what I know now. A rule built on fear is only as strong as the fear itself." Robert's rule came from a bad experience. But not every story ends the same way. I broke the rule. I'd break it again. Because sometimes the right person is worth the risk.